Please welcome LEYMAH GBOWEE, Nobel Peace Prize laureate, SDG advocate, and founder of the LEYMAH GBOWEE Foundation, Africa.
Hello, everyone. Social Good 2030 is now, and a lot of great things happening in our world. Today, whilst we celebrate the greatness of our world, we also celebrate a lot of conflict, wars in places that some of you have never heard about, but also in places that is familiar to you. Syria, Yemen, Afghanistan, Iraq, for some people, Central African Republic, for others, maybe South Sudan, for some, Cameroon on the brink of a crisis. And as you hear about these conflicts on a daily basis, there is a common theme: rape and sexual abuse of women, men as villains, sometimes heroes, and the general picture, especially for those of us who come from Africa and have been through war, is that of a begging bull, sagging breast with 10 children behind you and you pregnant. So that's the global narrative of war and conflict in third world countries. But one of the things that is becoming a global theme is that in these countries, while the global media continue to make these projections, at the local level, you have these women who are doing great work, fantastic work, working with their colleagues, working with their community members, working with different people. I like to tell stories, and I've been to many places. I myself a survivor of war, and I can tell you tons of stories about my own exploit, from being the general for peace to standing before men with AK-47 and telling them to get out of my way because I have a place to go, or just sitting around the table and listening to women talk about their pain. But as you listen to those stories of pain, you hear stories of strength. So a few years ago, I found myself in DR Congo around the table with 100 women who had been sexually assaulted. We were there with many journalists from the West, and they already came with a preconceived story to tell the world: rape and abuse. But most of the stories they wanted to hear was how many times these women had been raped. I sat there with my notebook. I have several of those that when I die, my kids will put on eBay. If you dare to put your money to it, you will see some crazy trend of thought, and you will know that this woman was definitely a mad person. But I have tons of them, so I just write my thoughts, and I'll do drawings. And as these women were talking, they were being interviewed by our international partners. As the one African woman who was leading the delegation, I heard a familiar theme. I was raped. I wanted to die. I thought about suicide, and the women came, and the women came, and the women came. And then I said, stop. Which women? Oh, women who had been raped also. They came and gave me strength. They took me to the doctor. They gave me a place to stay. They gave me clothes. When I was leaving Congo, a journalist asked me, what is your perception of this place? I said, the general picture of Congo in the global world is it's the country of rape. I see it as the country of sisterhood. And this is not just a Congo story. In 2015, 30 of us women got on a plane and went to China and then to North Korea. We spent 7 days in Pyongyang. We're crazy, right? People, we got threats. I got tons of threats in my email. People were calling on the Nobel Committee to take the Nobel Peace Prize back. My mom, who lived war, was telling me, what the hell are you going to do in North Korea? I said, isn't that hypocritical? Your country has had the worst civil war in the world. And now you're asking me, I say, see it from the brighter side. We're 30 on the delegation. My visa is the cheapest, $10. So I have the least price on my head if they were kidnapping us. Americans, British, Irish, all of these people, I'm at the end of the line. But we went in there and we insisted that it was going to be a civil kind of engagement. 7 days later, we crossed over to the south. And I can tell anyone that today in our world, the North and the South are talking peace. I can say emphatically that 2015, when those brave women crossed that border, they led the way for what is happening today. The point that I'm trying to make to all of you is this. As we talk about 2030, the agenda in 2030 is now. There is absolutely no way that we can do anything in our world without peace and security. And there's absolutely no way that we can have peace and security without adequate partnership with women, regardless of how you think about them. 2 weeks ago, I found myself in Nepal meeting with some members of the Peace Council from Afghanistan. And this is what I asked them. If you're a father with 10 children, 6 daughters, 4 sons, your wife lives in a house, and you're having fire on that house, and your daughters and your wife is sitting and painting their nails, you and the boys are trying to pour water on the fire, do you think you will achieve success quicker? And the answer was no. So what will you expect? Or that they will join us to pour water on the fire? I said that's exactly what happens to our world when we try to leave out the unique skills of women, their ability, their intellect, and their strength. But beyond that, even as we partner with women, we need to consider one thing as 2030 is now, that peace and security is not just about militarism and war. That peace and security is about everything that makes a person a dignified human that God created them to be. Homelessness is peace and security. Economic justice is peace and security. The Me Too movement is peace and security. Black Lives Matter is peace and security. Housing crisis is peace and security. We all need to put our hands together, whether you live in the North, live in the South. If you begin to see all of these thematic concerns as issues that would hamper us from getting to 2030, you need to get involved. Finally, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there is no way, absolutely no way, that you and I can get to 30-20 as long as we continue to be comfortable. Because you know what? Until every individual can use their unique skills and feel respected to bring our world closer to 2030, not a single one of us can say we are free. Until every girl has the right to education, every woman has the right to own her body, every young man sees life as he should see it, not a single one of us will get to 2030. 2030 is now, and it's going to take you and I to make it happen. Thank you.